All right, so the last set of homework this week, or the last new stuff in homework, is dividing with mixed numbers that involve negatives. So that is what we're going to be doing today and reviewing that sort of stuff. Does anyone, before we start, have any general questions for my... What color will that be? Today's blue, right? You guys are blue?
Yeah, we're blue.
Yeah, so for my green people that are watching this video, hopefully you read the directions in the Schoology folder that got you here. Otherwise, I don't know, you maybe just stumbled your way to here. But watch the video, take the notes as we go. If I write it on my paper, you should write it on your paper. If you want to speed me up, speed me up. Aside from that, watch the video and then do your work.
Yeah, dude.
So, explanation to you guys sitting here, I'm out tomorrow, right? So that's in green up here. I'm out tomorrow. I have to wrap some stuff up before we have an appraisal for a refinance for our home loan mortgage. Lots of big words to say. I'm getting a lower interest rate on my home loan that will save me money every single month. To do that, they have to come and send a person out to my house to make sure that I didn't blow the thing up and make sure that it's still worth the money they think it's worth. So that's why I have to be out tomorrow. But you guys will be out also. So that doesn't impact you. But green group, thank you for your patience and watching the video and just, working with me. Homework is still due Friday at 4:30. So even though nobody has school Friday, again, nobody has school Friday. Hey guys, did you hear that nobody has school Friday? Although we don't have school, homework is still due then. I could have made it due tomorrow at 4:30, but I thought that was lame. And if we have time today, I've got a new game in Desmos that we might go try to play. I will launch it today either way, so people watching the video, if you want to go to your Desmos, it should be assigned to you by the time you watch this video. All right, so here's the deal. Dividing mixed numbers. First off, mixed numbers themselves are tough. We don't even have to divide them to make them a difficult thing to deal with. Especially mixed numbers involving division, bless you, and especially mixed numbers involving division involving negatives. So let's write out this process. So what I have typed up here, I would like you to write out the 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the abbreviated version, I'll show you on the next slides, is just going to say, remember, improper, KCF, signs, multiply. But to remember what all that means, let's go ahead and write out. So, what we're doing is division with mixed numbers. So let's head our notes, division with mixed numbers, or dividing mixed numbers. And we are involving negatives, so you can go ahead and say with negatives if you want. And we said that's tough, it's difficult. So we're going to write out this numbered process. So number one for dividing mixed numbers is to convert into improper. So mixed numbers, like you see up on the board, involve a number and a fraction. We want to just convert it to an improper. So one, we're going to say convert to improper. I'll go ahead and just move this so you guys can see everything. But I am writing this in my notes, so I don't know why I see some hands not moving. Number one, convert to improper. And guys, I try to make our notes as short as possible. I abbreviate things down when I can. So if I ask you to write it down, please write it down. You're going to need it later. That's why I have you write it down, is you're going to need to refer back to it later to remember the process. KCF, to make multiplication. Number 3 is analyze signs. So you could just put analyze signs. And number 4 is multiply through top and bottom. So we multiply straight through top and we multiply straight through bottom. So we'll drag this up here and start practicing. So we're going to do 3 together. Then I'm going to ask you to do 3 on your own. and we will see how much time we have then. So I'm going to write my first one in green. Is that a negative 1/8 or 1 1/8? So that's positive, right? And guys, some of these questions will show up in your Khan Academy. I'm not going to tell you which ones they are, but taking good notes now, when you are in Khan Academy, you're like, oh, we did that one in class. You could just come back and look at your work, and then you have your answer, right? So that would save you some work. 1 1/8 divided by negative 3/7. So our first step is convert to improper. We're going to do that using what I call the triangle method, which that's not a very good name for it. But if I think of my whole number as like a point, then I come down and then I come up. So it kind of makes like what starts to look like a triangle. So 1 times 8 is 8, plus 1 more is 9/8. What's that?
I do it like the other way. I do the 8 times 1 plus 1.
Oh, you come this way? Yeah, so I guess that's a really good point. We could also come this way, right? 8 times 1 and then plus 1. I don't know why I do it the way I... Yeah, I don't know. Either way you go. Now, what does KCF stand for? Keep, change, flip. And guys, I'm actually going to take this opportunity. We talked about this one day, but all of the work we're going to do today is going to go like straight down. I'm going to fold my paper in half to make 2 nice columns. I'm going to do all of this work over on the left column, all of the work for my next problem on the right column. So I'm going to draw a line down my column. We keep, change, flip. And, okay, 9/8 stays the same. Times, we flip our second fraction, making sure that the negative stays in the fraction. It doesn't actually matter where the negative is. And I think I forgot to talk about that in this class. So if I go back to my notes, unless I did recycle it, and if so, I can find it in my recycling. We talked about it on a previous day, but yesterday I think I forgot to remind you. It doesn't matter where the negative is in a fraction. So the joke that I made yesterday at the end of class, I forgot for you guys, but is that there was a betrayal, and we talked, well, you guys weren't here yesterday, so especially 2 days ago. I was talking about, I made up problems involving truffles, and a third of the pack would be 1 truffle. 1 truffle is a third. And I said that Miss Allie betrayed me and she stole a truffle. So that would be like going down by 1/3. Or we could put the negative in front of the 1/3. Or we could put the negative on the bottom of the 1/3. Either way, if there's one negative, it stays a negative value. So it doesn't matter if it's on top, out in front, or on the bottom. The negative fraction is a negative fraction. So I'm going to keep the negative with the 3, but it doesn't really make a difference of where we put the negative. Yeah?
What if there's multiple negatives?
Every pair of negatives will become positive.
Okay.
Yep. So that is still that weird. So I'm not going to modify this problem, but we're going to see other problems today with multiple negatives, and we'll chat about that as we get to it. Thank you for that question. Other questions at this point? This was step 1, right? Converting to improper. This right here is step 2, utilizing KCF. So now we're going to do step 3, right? We're going to analyze the signs. So I'm going to take a moment, and I'm not actually going to work over here, but I'm going to make a note out here. So I have positives over here. I have 1 negative over here. My answer is going to be negative. So you can either write NEG, or you can make a negative like sign, like a minus sign. But I'm going to keep doing the work down here. I just made a mental note. I made a literal note, like a physical note, that my answer will be negative. Think about that before you do the math. Then And you don't really need to rewrite this, but I'm going to. I'm just going to do it without the parentheses, right? When we multiply straight across the numerators and straight across the denominators. And if I go ahead and put the negative out in my answer space, I don't need to worry about it when I do the math on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and in the same moment say, well, 8 times 3 is 24. And I put the negative out front. 9 times 7, 63. But again, we said we don't really love the negative on the same level as the fraction bar. So I'm going to actually put the negative in the numerator. It does not make a difference. We just like it better that way. At least I like it better that way. So we started, I'm going to review the whole process again. We started with 1 and 1/8 divided by negative 3/7. We used our method of changing a mixed number into an improper. So we got 9/8, still divided by negative 3/7. We applied keep, change, flip, and we flipped our second fraction so that we could turn division into multiplication. We made a mental note that our answer is going to be negative. And then our step 4 was actually right here, right, of multiplying straight across. We brought down our little mental note about our answer being negative. And to clean it up, we put the negative in the numerator. The only thing we can do now is what? Simplify by dividing by the same thing in top and bottom. So remember, to simplify, we have to divide by the same number in the numerator and the denominator. 24, I can think about the factors of, the factors of that. I know 6 and 4, 8 and 3, right? Those are factor pairs that can make 24. Ooh, 63 divides by 3, right? 60 would divide by 3, and 3 would divide by 3. 24 divides by 3. Let's divide by 3. So if we divide by 3, we get an 8 on the bottom. And negative, make sure you bring the negative, 21. Because 60 divided by 3 would be 20. 3 divided by 3 would be 1. I think we get a negative 21 over 8. And that would be our reduced or simplified form of the fraction. Negative 21 over 8. Questions on our 4-step process here? I fixed my my camera, so now it will actually stay where I put it. All right, go ahead and try that next one. Go ahead and set it up on your own, because I'm getting kind of hot. I need to take my sweatshirt off. But we are going to do it together. Just go ahead and set it up on your own. I'm going to write this one in gray. So it's 3 over negative 4. I'm going to go ahead and write that in a parentheses. 3 over negative 4 divided by, guys, these are going to get slightly harder as we go because I designed the lesson to do that. So please, even if you thought, oh, that first one, I got it, I'm good now, please continue to write these down. And people watching the video, please don't just skip through them because this one's different. We'll talk about how it's different in just a moment. So step 1, let's use our method, whatever you want to call it, triangle method or whatever you call it. I would be happy to hear what you guys call it. To convert to improper, so this doesn't need converted. But I'm going to clean this up, and instead of keeping the negative in the bottom, I'm going to move the negative up to the top. It doesn't make a difference, but in my brain, guys, the reason I do that is when I don't do that, I found out that I make mistakes. Literally, I've just learned over time, when I don't put the negatives in the top, I make mistakes. So then, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So negative 7 thirds. Well, that's funny. That's similar to what we just had over here, right? But this came from making the improper. So step 1 is done, right? We made improper. Step 2 is what now? What's step 2? Just shout it out. Yeah, we're just here. Keep change. Even people watching the video, you should shout it out and mess with Mr. Johnson. Just right now. Just say, keep change flip out loud. It'll be funny. Those of you that didn't do it, here's your second chance. Come on, live a little. Have some fun. So Mr. Johnson, who normally subs in the academy, is a friend of mine. Like, we know each other outside of school. So that's why I'm saying, like, let's mess with Mr. Johnson. You guys won't meet him because he's here tomorrow, but eventually you'll meet him. Keep, change, flip. So we flip our second fraction because we changed our division into multiplication. So we flip this. For now, I'm going to keep the negative with the 7 just so we don't confuse anybody. So that was step 3, right? So we did step 2, we did step 3. So now, oh wait, no, step 3 is analyze signs, right? Step 2 was KCF. So now this is where this problem's different. We have a negative fraction times a negative fraction, which we can really think about as the opposite of a negative. What's the what? Positive. So make a note that this answer for this question should be positive. Now, I'm going to write this without the parentheses just to make my life a little bit easier. And we multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. And I'm going to write all of the work, even like using the negatives. Negative 3 times negative 3. Sorry, negative 3 times positive 3. My apologies. That's a positive 3 up there. Positive 4 times negative 7. Negative 7, 14, 21, 20, 28. And a negative over a negative is a positive. They cancel out. So we know that this is for sure just 9/28. Positive. Then we got to think to ourselves, okay, 9 over 28. Are there any common factors that we could pull, and not really pull out, but like divide out, right? Factors of 9, 1, 3, 1 doesn't really matter, but 1's a factor of everything. 1, 3, 3, 9. Right, well, can I divide 28 by 9? Nah, 27 divides by 9. Can I divide 28 by 3? 24, 20, no, 27. Darn it, that's it. 9/28 is it. So our answer is just 9/28. That's it. So we converted to improper. We used keep, change, flip to make them both, make it into multiplication. We then we then thought about what sign is it. A negative times a negative is a positive. And then we did the multiplication. I just kept the negatives in here to show the work of why that actually works out. And 9/28 cannot be reduced, so we're stuck. Or more so, we're done. We're not really stuck, we're just done. Questions on this one? Looking at time, I'd kind of like to... Do you guys feel ready to try one on your own, or do you want to do one more together? Tell me where you are with thumb scale. Are you good to like move on, or like you want to try another one together, or you're completely confused, you're just not asking questions? And then if you just want to hang 10, I guess. All right, let's do one more together. If you want to go ahead and try this on your own, just like turn off your ears. Yeah, that's easy, right? So I'm going to go ahead and keep that part of my notes up here. And I'm going to make a new page with a fold on it. And actually, if you want to move on to a problem that we're not doing, here, if you feel comfortable and you want to challenge yourself, write this problem down really fast. If you want to challenge yourself, write down that problem and go ahead and move on your own. But if you want to stick with me to solve one more, stick with me, kid. We'll go far. I forget what movie that's from, but it's from some movie. We're going to use brown just because brown never gets used because it's a, you know, kind of weird color, but hey. I'm going to use it here. I like it because it looks natural, right? It looks like trees. I went to the office this morning and was talking with Mrs. Cavalucci, which if you haven't met her, she's awesome. And she hooked me up. Now, all of this stuff didn't come from the office, but if you've ever used Bic Flair pens, she gave me like all these Flair pens. So that's why I'll start shifting from Sharpies into Flair pens. But these are all the different Sharpies that I have over here that I'm like pulling from. So for those of you that are like, I had a kid in another class be like, how many colors do you write with? All of them. I write with all of the colors. I just keep changing. So even how I wrote this, you can tell that this doesn't really work well. I made my fraction a whole lot bigger than my mixed number. But either way, step one is convert to improper, right? So let's apply step one here. I'm going to... Lily, I like your method better. Of starting in the bottom, multiplying up, and then adding up. So if we multiply 5 times 2, we get 10 plus 1 more. Gets us that 11/5. Divided by... Am I good? There's a mistake. There's a mistake on purpose, Nate.
The 11/5 should be negative.
The negative needs to come down. This is what happens, guys. This is the mistake I see people make. You put your effort into making it improper and you forget about the negatives. So always check, did I bring down the negatives I was supposed to bring down? So now that we double checked our negatives, now we can apply step 2 to keep, change, flip. So keep, change, flip. Negative 11/5 stays how it is. And I can put it in parentheses if I want, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it not in parentheses just to not have so much going on here. I'm going to flip my negative 3/7 and put 7 over negative 3. I went ahead and left the negative with the 3 just to not confuse anybody. Now, I can go ahead and not like in a separate step down here, but I can kind of off to the side say I've got how many negatives in this problem? 2. So is it going to stay negative or become positive? Positive. You doing all right there? You look like you're having a fight with gravity. Gravity likes to win. It's been around for a while. So we know the answer is going to be positive. Now let's think through our multiplication. You could actually drop the negative signs at this point if you really wanted to. Because we've already thought about the negatives. We've already like taken care of them. But if I didn't drop the negatives, negative 11 times 7... Negative 11 times 7. Yeah, just shout it out, guys. More and more, I'm going to be looking for you guys to do the math just to keep you like awake and alert and like doing math. 5 times negative 3? Negative 15. So we know a negative over top of a negative, or negative divided by a negative, more so I should say, becomes positive. So we get 77/15. Now the one thing I did forget back over here was if it asked us to make it back into a mixed number, because this fraction ended improper, we could turn it back into a mixed number. 9/28 we can't because it is a proper fraction. So here, let's ask ourselves, can we reduce? And even if we can't reduce, let's go ahead and make it back into a mixed number, because sometimes they want us, always double check what the answer, like what form it's asking you for. Can 77 and 15 divide by anything common? I can't think of anything. 15 can divide by 3, and it can divide by 5.
Yeah, I don't think that.
77 can't divide by either of those. So, Natalie, how many 15s are in 70? if we just count up, use your fingers. Like, 7th graders come to me and they think using your fingers is, like, not allowed. 15, then 30, 45, 60, 75. Yes, so 5 gets us to 75. So I don't know why I wrote this fraction bar so close to there. So I'm just going to go ahead and say 5 and, so I'm going to make that an arrow. 5 and, how many would we have left over? 2. And then our denominator stays the same. So if we wanted to write this as a mixed number, it would be 5 and 2/15. Any questions on any 3 of those first mixed number problems that we did? Because I'm going to have you guys try it out. People watching the video, I'm going to trust you that you're actually going to try it on your own. Now, the video is going to keep going, so you can let the video play and try this on your own. Or you could like pause it and then skip forward, but that seems kind of silly to me. People here, live in person, go ahead and write this one down. This is going to be the first one I have you guys try on your own. If you already did this one, I'll show you the next one in a moment. Actually, I'll probably show you the last one, so you can go ahead and start on that. Guys, I really encourage putting dates on your paper. I know as a kid you think that's not that important, but when you look back in your folders, or when your binder explodes, which will happen at some point probably, all your papers will fall out and it will be heartbreaking. Having dates on your papers is just a really quick way to organize. So please, and my mistake, I don't have a date on this page yet because I started a new page and I forgot to put a date on it. So today is 10/14. For people watching the video tomorrow, it'll be 10/15 tomorrow, not 10/14. So if you already did the one up on the screen, the next one you could do is this one. 3 divided by -4 divided by 2, -2 1/3. So if you already did the one that we're looking at right here, you can write this one down and go ahead and try it on your own. Or the next one we're going to do is this one. -2 1/4 divided by -3 1/3. Yeah, so 3 divided by -4 divided by 2 and -2 1/3. And the last one we'll do is -2 1/4 divided by -3 1/3. At least I think, yeah, that's the last one I had planned. Wow, way to make me feel like, you mean how much more time do we get to do math, right?
Sure.
Yes, that's how we're going to phrase it. 54. So literally 20 minutes. It is 34 right now, 54. But I'm going to try to be done with the lesson here in 10 minutes and give you guys time to either work on homework or Desmos if you want. Let's change colors again. -3.5 divided by 4/9, right? Now I need you guys to talk me through this. All right, I'm just going to go around the room. So, Lily, what do I do first? Make it improper fractions. So, this is proper, but so what does -3 1/2 become? -7/2, because 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, still divided by a positive 4/9. That was step 1. Done. Lacey, what do I do now? Keep change flip. By the way, for people watching the video, I don't know if this will work for me to move. Nope, well, maybe. So all steps 3 and 4 say signs and multiply. I don't know if that worked or not. We'll have to see when we look at the video. -7/2 times, we flip our fraction, 9/4. Sydney, what do I do next? Yes, we can also take a pause to think about signs. Now, we can actually do steps 3 and 4 together. So, Sydney, when I have one negative, what's my answer going to be? A negative. So we can go ahead and think about the negative. But then you're right. We can multiply across at the same time. So negative 7 times 9 is negative 63. Gotta love the 9s. And 2 times 4 is 8. If we want to reduce this, well, 8 is only divisible by 2 and 4. Negative 63.
It can only go to 7.
What do you mean it can only go to 7?
It can only...
Well, 63 could divide by 9 and 7. We know that it can divide by those because those factors made it. I don't know that we have any common factors. 2 doesn't work, 4 doesn't work, 3 doesn't work. Yeah, I think that's it. So if we just try to convert it back to mixed, if we want it as a mixed, Isaiah, you got a guess of how many 8s fit into 63? We can count up if we need, right? So like 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64. Oh, overshot it. So 56. 56 was the result of 8 times 7. So if 56, so we got to do 63 minus 56 to figure out the remainder. So yeah, that would be 7. Negative 7 and 7/8 if we want it written mixed. I'm going to try to continue to use this page. Go ahead and do this one if you haven't. We're gonna draw a little happy tree here. This will happen more and more as people do simulations, like other teachers do simulations. The people yelling from the other rooms. I'm making a happy tree is what I'm doing. Have you ever seen, who's the guy that paints?
Bob Ross?
Bob Ross, yeah. And we can make a sun shining down here. Wait, you guys think you're the only people that doodle in class? My brown dividing line just looked like a tree trunk, just, waiting. And then we could make some roots down at the bottom. Can you give it some tree roots? No? All right, we're not all with me. All right, let's do more math. 3 divided by negative 4. I should not use the same color over here. That would be confusing. Let's use red. 3 divided by negative 4. I'm going to go ahead and move this page underneath me because I'm writing on it. Wait, we already did this one. This one's from the front, guys. If you didn't have a minor alarm in your head saying, wait, I recognize this problem we're about to write down, we did it on the front. I'm trying to see if people are awake and if we're paying attention. So let's do negative 2 1/4 divided by negative 3 1/3. Now, it's actually really good practice if you did solve the negative 3/4 divided by negative 2 1/3. If you solved this one again on your own, what you want to do is go back to the front of the paper and check, did your answer agree? So if you wrote it down again and solved it again, check, did you get 9/28 again when you did it on your own? That's the other reason why I kind of did that. So, 2 mixed numbers. Guys, this is the hardest problem we've seen because we have 2 mixed numbers. So step 1 has 2 parts to it. We have to make this into improper, and we have to make this into improper. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. There's a negative, so bring it along. Do not put steps together. Do one step at a time. I'm going to stop there and give you guys some time to get ahead of me. You guys should be continuing to work on your own, not waiting for me. All right, Isaiah, now that we have improper divided by improper, what is our second step? Yeah, what are those 3 letters? KCF, right, guys? We should have this written down in our notes. So if you need to go back, the biggest things that, like, if you wanted to underline, it's improper, KCF, signs, multiply, right? So that's why I have up on the screen, it says, remember, improper, KCF, signs, multiply. So KCF, boom, shakalaka. -9 over 4 times 3 over -10. We're about to encroach on my tree roots, but that's okay. Step 3, /4, right? We can actually, Sydney told us we can do these steps at the same time, really. What's a problem going to result in when we have 2 negatives? Positive. So I'm going to pull a plus over here. Multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. I draw the arrows so that I remember what I'm doing. What's 9 times 3? 27. What's 4 times 10? 40. Can we reduce that? Yeah, I don't know that we can. I mean, 4 would work for the denominator, not for the numerator.
Yeah, there's no.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think we're stuck. Guys, I want to do one more problem, and I'm going to tell you it is probably in your quiz. So for those of you that have kind of been like, well, I think I got it, I'm going to quit writing or quit paying attention. Assuming that the quiz actually does what I asked it to do when I assigned the assignments and you guys have the same problems, I think this problem's in your quiz. So it would behoove you, what does that mean? It would benefit you. It would behoove you to do this with me. So forget about what's up on the screen. We're going to do that so that you can't even see it. Like, can't even see a problem. Here's the problem that we're writing. So start with me. -3 1/2 divided by -1 2/5. Get a head start on me. Step 1, improper. I think we were to Natalie working our way around the room. What is 3 1/2 made improper? I'll pick up the sign in a minute, but what does 3 1/2 turn into? What improper fraction? What's 2 times 3? Yeah, then add 1 more. Yeah, so we get 7 halves. Bring the negative. divided by, we do the same method with 1 and 2/5. Nate, what does 1 and 2/5 become?
1 and 2/5 becomes
5 times 1 is
oh,
5.
negative 7/5.
Yeah, he went ahead and gave me the negative too. The negative, I always kind of just double check after I've done the improper math. That sounds funny to say, the improper math. All right, so we did improper. Good, check. We're going to scoot up because we're done with that step. Now we want a KCF. KCF always, like, if you say it fast, it kind of sounds like kiss the chef. Have you ever seen, like, the aprons or whatever that says kiss the chef?
That does not sound like the
KCF, like if you say it real fast.
KCF.
All right, so keep, change, flip. I'm going to go ahead and leave my negative with the 7. We changed the division into multiplication. We flipped the fraction. Then analyze signs, and at the same time, I guess, we can multiply straight across if we want to combine steps 3 and 4. So that was step 2, and then step 3 and 4. Negative 7 times 5, negative 35. 2 times negative 7, okay, negative 14. Anything we can reduce by? 2, 7. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and come. So I guess, guys, a step 5 that we should add, right, that I didn't even think about up here, is reduce. If we're able to reduce or convert back to improper, depending on what the question asks us to do, reduce / convert back, right? So I'm going to say reduce / mixed. Like if we want to convert back to a mixed, that's its whole own other step. So I'm going to do step 5 down here then, because we need to be able to label it. The negatives are gone, so my fraction just becomes positive 35 over 14. And Nate said we can divide by 7. So 35 divided by 7's 5? Yeah. And if we want to convert this into a mixed number, what's that become? 2 and 1/2. Absolutely. Now, if it was fine with us leaving it improper, 5/2 is the answer. But if we're asked to convert improper into mixed, 2 1/2 would be the answer. Really, 35/14 is the answer also, but we want to reduce. We always want to reduce if possible. So my apologies that I forgot to put step 5 over here of reduce or make it mixed. Any questions over anything we did today? All right, well, I will say the rest of this time. So for the Desmos, yeah, Natalie?
I don't have a question, but I just need to tell everybody, I tried to eat my teeth through my math 3 times in the last, 40 seconds.
Sounds difficult. Just take off one ear, eat, and then put it back on. Yeah, real fast. Because why we wear masks is to keep, what we breathe out from going everywhere.
Slip mask and just go on the zipper and just go.
I feel like it's just as fast to just pull it up. All right, so people at home, well, not at home, people watching this in class, if you want to do Desmos, you totally can. I'm going to go ahead and launch it right now. Once I find where my Desmos page went. 1A, 1B, 3A. All right, so if you go to Desmos and log in like we did yesterday, you will see an activity called Aim for 16. So again, if I go the student route and look at my list, trying to get back to home. Guys, we're not done. We still are in here for I guess 4 minutes. I'll come around with wipes in just a second. If you want to do this later then, is what I mean, if you go to Desmos.com, which I might just need to type in again. Well, actually, this is Desmos. And hit student homepage. Aim for 16 is on your Learn Together. Guys, this is actually really fun. What this activity is it gives you like cards, and you have to try to figure out how to make 16. So using like whatever operations you want. So add, subtract, multiply, or divide. You got to use all 4 numbers. So I can't really see my first number is 4. So 4, 1, 2, and 1. So 4. I'm trying to make 16. Well, 4 times 2 is 8. Can I use numbers twice? Let's try that. 4 times 2 is 8 times 2 times 1 times 1. Ah! I can't use 2 twice. Lacey?
I figured it out.
What is it?
1 plus 1 times 2.
So you mean like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
4.
Ah, there we go. Because adding the parentheses will make this add first, get 2 times 2 is 4 times 4 is 16. That is your Aim for 16 Desmos activity. Feel free to just, play with that whenever you want. It will live in Desmos. It will stay open for a couple months. So whenever you want to work on it, you can. Whenever you're bored in AO or extensions and trying to challenge yourself.
You can't really chew gum with the mask stuff, and it makes you breathe your. Yeah, it can be in your eyes. What?
So try to bring snacks that don't need nuts and sanitize your hands right now because they probably have some of the oil on it. So yeah, sanitize your hands right now if you would. All right, people watching the recording, you probably already left the recording because, I got up to do wipes. So have a great day. Thank you for everything you've done.